Hello everyone. December update of Power BI is out, and we at Agile Analytics put together a quick update on some of the features that will be probably more interesting for us to show you. So I have Owen and Artem with me, and we will be sharing some of the highlights of these December updates. Owen, over to you.
Thanks, Aman. I'll share my screen here. So I want to talk about two updates just quickly. So one, and just here on the Power BI blog for the December update. So one is the public preview of hybrid tables in Power BI Premium. So what these are basically an extension of incremental refresh, where you can also have a partition of your table which is direct query. So basically, you can have a mixture of static imported partitions plus incremental partitions plus real-time direct query partitions. So quite an interesting update. Through Power BI Desktop, you can configure the various settings relating to how those partitions work by ticking this. In particular, you want to tick this third option that lets you enable the direct query partition. So obviously it does require a bit of configuration, does require Power BI Premium, but a very interesting feature, and you can customize things further if you make use of XMLA endpoints to really beyond this configure how you want those partitions to behave. So you can customize things beyond this, but this is, I think, a great sort of interface for users who just want some basic setup with the most recent data, for example, being handled with a direct query partition, to sort of give you real time, I'll say in inverted commas, depending on your data source, real-time updates on top of your already imported data without having to rerun the whole refresh process to get that data. So that's update number one. I think it's a really interesting one. And update number two is around some visuals from Zebra BI. They've done an announcement themselves, but the Zebra BI cards. So this is a new visual you can find in the App Store marketplace. So what it is I think quite a neat KPI style visual that lets you combine KPIs with different visuals within them within a single visual. So if you think up until now, depending what visual you used, you might have had to create multiple visuals to get an effect like the one I'm showing here. So this is from their sample workbook. You can download from, if you go into App Stores, find Zebra BI cards, download this workbook, and you can see all these great demonstrations of how this visual works. So I think a few cool things. One, it's visually very appealing, and two, performance-wise, this should be much better than having, say, 10 or 20. There's a lot here. This looks like about 30 metrics in one visual. So performance-wise, obviously Power BI is generating a much more efficient query to generate this visual. And there's a lot of great features as far as how this visual is scaled. When you can see here, small versions adapt to scale down and possibly hide some of the chart elements, whereas the larger you make the visual, the more the space is utilized to show some of the trend type visuals. So yeah, great visual to play with and experiment and see what different effects and different sort of layouts you can create. So very flexible and versatile visual, as you would expect from Zebra BI. So really excited to play with this one. Yeah, so I think that's all from me for today. I will hand over to, I think Artem is going to speak next. I'll hand over.
Yes, thanks, Owen. So Artem, what are the things that you are most excited about?
Yeah, thanks guys. Well, you know me, I'm a visual guy, so I'm definitely going to speak about something that I can show and related to visuals, and that would be, as you guess, Sparklines, which is absolutely amazing feature, new feature added to Power BI in preview mode yet. So that means that to see it in your Power BI desktop, you need to go to the options and preview features and tick this box saying Sparklines. After that, you will be able to play with Sparklines. And in my demo report, I created a matrix view that contains that Sparklines. I already pre-configured a couple of columns. So Sparklines is something that you can think of as something similar to, I would say, thumbnails of your pictures folder on your PC. So like when you open your folder with your photos or documents, you can see small miniature pictures representing your actual photos. Like you have an understanding what you're dealing with, what photo collection you've got in that folder. And then if you're interested, you can double click and open the full picture. So this is something similar. It's Sparkline is a feature that you can use in metrics and table visuals in Power BI, and that will add a small representation of each row data, each row of your metrics and table data as a line chart, miniature line chart, or a bar chart. As you can see, I've configured sales by month Sparklines for my number of sales, and sales amount by month for my sales amount as column charts. And obviously it works just as usual. Metrics can work, so I can expand, I can collapse, and it gives me pretty interesting insights, a quick insights of my data. So I can see that, for example, these products started to be sold from a particular time in the selected period, which is somewhere in the middle or even later. I've got these red dots representing a minimum values for that particular product. I see that I had minimum for this product somewhere in the middle, and for this one somewhere in the beginning. Also, my sales amount can show me when I had, for example, for this line, for this row, I see that my sales amount decreased significantly somewhere in the middle of the selected period. And obviously, if I change the selection, that little graphs will update immediately. So it's very interesting and a useful thing, I guess, that can be used. Like, for example, you can have a quick look in this view, and then you can have a details page that can be drilled through. So you found something interesting, you spotted something you want to see in more details, then you can configure drill through page and then drill through to that particular product or category, etc. So this is really exciting and interesting feature. Now I will quickly show how you can actually add a Sparkline to your matrix or table. So I will remove one from my existing visual. So to add it, there are actually two ways you can add Sparklines. And initially I thought there was only one, but then I discovered the second one. So I will show that in a minute. First way is you've got your values columns or measures, and you can just right click it. And there is a menu option saying add a Sparkline. So when you do that, it will show you a dialog box already with your column or measure that you right-clicked as a y-axis. Then summarization type if you deal with a table column. If it's measure, it will be just measure, no summarization option. And then you need to select x-axis like you usually do for your graphs, like line charts or column charts. And in this case, I will take a column that represents months. So I will see a monthly breakdown of my sales amounts sum, and that will by default add this column. So this is a Sparkline column. that looks like pretty much like a default line chart, but now I'm going to configure it a little bit. First of all, I'm going to change formatting for it, and that's not related to Sparklines. It's just a regular field formatting capability. I will just select my new column, which is Sparkline, and I want to change the background and make it the same as my main sales amount. So I'm selecting my Sparkline column. I'm selecting the same color, and I'm saying apply to header as well. Okay, color is configured. I want to also change my column title to make it a bit user-friendly, and I will name it as sales amount by month. And press enter. Okay, I've got the name. Now, to configure Sparklines, I can go to my configuration menu, and there is a new section called Sparklines, and that's all about configuration of my Sparklines. So I will select the one I want to configure, which is sales amount. And here I've got selection, line or column. I will, if I want to have a line, I can also select some markers, for example, like highest and change color of it. Or I can say I want to see lowest as well and highest, or make the lowest red, for example. But for this example, I will use column charts, and I will change the color to green just to make it look nicer. Okay, this is a way number one to do that, but there is a second way. It turns out you can add a Sparkline column even for the columns or measures you haven't got in your values by default. So you can just go to the insert section of your top menu, and there is add a Sparkline button. So when you click it, you've got the same dialog box, and you can literally select any other measure or column from your existing data model. And in this case, I will find return quantity from my sales table, for example, and I will edit. I will say there is no summarization, by the way, because that's a measure, so it's already calculated. And I will again select the same year, months. And here I have it. Now all I need to do is just to configure it the same way I already showed to you. I can say, okay, let it be column and choose different color. And here I have the source Sparkline that shows me graphs for my return quantity. So this is it. I think it's very powerful. It's very interesting and can be used in widely used in metrics and tables. Yeah, that's it from me.
Excellent. That looks really good, Artem. And I'm sure there are a lot of use cases that people like to see a line chart or column chart when they are looking at their data without having to go to another page, which is what the Sparklines are really useful for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I think that's it. Again, each month we try to highlight a few of those features. So as usual for me, the main ones are the ones that are related to admin and governance. And this month we have one feature, which is now you can see all of the email subscriptions via admin API. So before the only option was to go to either Azure Log that only gives you 90 days of history, or go to the UI, and that was very hard to get list of all the email subscriptions. So now it makes it easier for admins to understand who has access to what email subscription for the security and governance. But yeah, as you see, there's a lot of updates, and again, we can't really cover everything in one session, but hopefully this was good enough for today. Thanks everyone. Hopefully we see you next year, and have a good Christmas holiday. See ya.
Yeah,
Thank you.
have a nice holiday.